Hi there, I'm champion trader Kevin Davey, and today I'm going to talk to you about why I algo trade the way I do. So let's get started. So people always ask me why I do certain things, why I have certain philosophies. So I thought I'd share some of those things in this video, maybe to give you some insight into how I algo trade. I think over the time I've done pretty well. I'm sure there's people out there who've done a lot better than I have, but maybe you can learn something from the way I do things and the way I think about things. One of the first things that I like to do is do things a little bit different than people. I always hear about the 200 bar moving average, okay? And people talk about that like it's some kind of golden rule kind of thing. Well, I don't use that typically. Instead, I'll use a 200 bar momentum. And there's a lot of times where the momentum actually kind of leads the moving average, because moving averages are typically lagging signals. They turn long after the trend is turned, but sometimes momentum is quicker. And so I like to do something a little bit different. So a lot of times in a lot of strategies I have, I'll use a 200 bar momentum. That's one thing. Another thing I do differently than quite a few people is I like to think differently than the crowd. So if you look at this chart, if you were just to look at it, you would probably think the red period is when you want to be buying. It's an uptrend after all. And the blue, at least most of the blue, is probably when you want to be selling. I like to think the opposite sometimes. And maybe when this long-term momentum is down, I want to be buying. And when it's up, maybe that's a good time to be selling. So again, it's kind of thinking differently than the crowd. So that's a part of what I do. I like to not do what everybody else is doing. That also rolls over into bar sizes. Most people do daily bars, 720 minute, 360, 240, 120, all those standard ones. So I test and I trade, instead of a 720 minute bar, maybe 716 minute, 712 minute, 358 minute, something a little bit different. And what that does is it puts me away from a lot of the crowd. Now, sometimes obviously you still get caught up in what everybody else is doing, but other times you might actually get some strategies that act differently than somebody who uses standard bars. So that's another reason why I algo the way I do. And so if you've seen some weird bar sizes, some of my videos, I'm just trying to do things a little bit different. But you put all that together, what it really comes down to, I do things differently, yes, but ultimately what I'm trying to do is live by this rule. This is my algo trading philosophy. All things being equal, the simplest solution tends to be the best one. And maybe you recognize that name, maybe you don't, but you'll recognize the saying. It's called Occam's razor. And it holds up in so many different cases where the simplest solution tends to be the best one in so many circumstances. It's a great way to algo trade. Instead of 200 rules and 50 variables that you're going to optimize, hey, you have 3 rules and 2 variables that you optimize. Simpler. The problem people have is they look at their back tests, and the simpler systems don't produce the nice back tests that the complicated systems do. But remember, the back test isn't what really matters, it's that real-time performance. And what I have found is simple tends to work better. I always say there's people out there who like to simplify things, get right to the core issue, and work off of that. And there's people who like to complicate things beyond all degrees of freedom, of just making things super complicated. I think in algo trading, my philosophy, keeping things simple, really works well. So that's a couple reasons why I algo trade the way I do, why I develop systems the way I do, and why you might see things from me that you see. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or give me a like. Subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment. Let me know. Let me know what you think. All right? Thanks, and see you soon.